board.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing I'm giving out is your calendar. You'll notice that I already have the first one marked out, the progress testing, because our students won't have enough hours. I had made this back before we had all of these changes, so I thought, I could go through and delete it, but I didn't. I just marked it out.
Okay, works for us.
Okay. Do you have any questions? So one thing I want to ask of you, so we have new student intake on August 19th and 20th. And on August 26th, we were going to do CASAS testing for all returners. But the thing with CASAS is you have to put the student in CASAS, so it takes a seat. It costs money. So I'm going to ask that each of you, through your Remind app or WhatsApp, whatever you use to talk to your students, you contact them and get a list of students who definitely want to attend in the fall. And then on the 26th, we will test them in CASAS.
So they would need to come up to this campus?
They'll go to whatever campus you are. So you're at Community Link, so all your former students will go to Community Link.
And somebody's going to be there to help reinforce computers and like.
Well, you know, you will have done it once.
Or Keegan or somebody that knows how to do all that stuff, you know?
Well, you will have done it once through orientation, so hopefully we'll feel like experts, right?
On August 26th, only the returning
Whatever
students.
you say.
Only returning students will be coming, the 26th.
Well, if you have enough people, like the returners would test, and the new people would go to orientation.
And what if I'm a one-man show?
Can
that.
Annie or somebody help you with that? Could she start the video? Do you have your orientation on a PowerPoint?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe she could do that for you? Is that a possibility?
I was wondering, Ronette, if we could do everybody during the orientation, even returning ones.
You mean during
On the
intake?
19th and 20th, yes. Just
If you want to
tell
set
everybody-
that up in the rule sites that way, you can do that.
I think that might work better.
Okay. Just the week before, you need to give Keegan a list of students who are definitely going to be there. Because like I said, he has to enter them into CASAS with their ID numbers. And if they say they're coming and they don't come, we've lost that test. So he needs a week's notice to put all of the students in. So if y'all wanted to do it that way too, just make sure you talk to Keegan, because he's
You'll be the one that will be
the
doing
technology.
this, doing the seats for us.
Right.
But I don't understand what you said. I must contact my students to ask who will be returning.
Right. And then on the 26th, they will take the CASAS test. So that means if you have students coming on the 26th to test, you need to give Keegan and me the names and their ID numbers by the 19th. He needs a week to enter.
How do we know their ID number?
If you give the name, he can look them up, but
Okay.
make sure you give the whole name.
And what if they tell you I can't be here on the 26th, but I can come on the 27th?
They have
They
to
need
come.
to come, they need to come on the 26th.
Okay.
Things
No,
are
I
strict.
don't mind telling them,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, there's just not a fuzzy line.
Yeah, I think we just have to do it on the
So-
26th, or else we're going to get into when do they make up the makeup test. They need to be here on the 26th.
So
And
how
if they
do
don't
we
come,
do
then they're not in
the-
the program.
Where's it
Yeah.
at?
If he has to have that notice ahead of time, how are the new students gonna take it then?
He has something devised for that. So they have a system for the new students and a system for the returners.
Okay,
Yeah, that's his thing.
okay,
So they have a system for each group because they're two different sets, so,
okay.
okay.
How do I know? So I use my contact information from last semester,
Right.
and the students that were in my class, I am responsible for contacting them
Yes, ma'am.
and asking who will definitely.
And let them know, if you're not here on the 26th, you'll have to wait until October, and you'll have to test all over again.
So if they want in, they have to be here on the 26th, and they have to let me know. So all I have to do is just give that list to Keegan by August 19th.
August 19th, yes. Any questions?
When did you say Keegan needed that list by?
A week before.
A week before.
So by the
Okay.
19th.
Okay, the next schedule I know that you want.
You know that we were, really?
Mm-hmm.
You sure?
Your teaching assignments. Most of them are the same. Do you want one for Molly too? Melanie, do you want one for Molly?
Sure, thanks.
You want one for them?
Sure.
Clink.
Okay,
Oh,
so
Clink.
something new with our curriculum. I want to back up a little bit. So when we started this new redesign of AEL, there were many hurdles and many obstacles, many battles to be had. And so the compromise, which I think is a nice one, is that well, let me back up. The reason we needed a compromise is because we had, some of our test scores weren't so great. Students were complaining that they were missing bits and pieces of grammar or reading strategies. Students who went into GED, the GED instructors didn't feel that they were adequately prepared. So the compromise we came up with was to start all students at high beginning. I don't care if they were advanced or high intermediate. All students will start at high beginning so we can start filling in those gaps. Okay, that's the first 8 weeks. In that 8 weeks, they're going to have a midterm and a final. The midterm and the final determines if they move up to low intermediate. So if we have a student who comes every day and tries very hard, but they don't pass their midterm, they don't get to advance. Okay? Likewise with the final. They have to pass both with an 80. Whatever they score on CASAS, that doesn't matter. I mean, CASAS was wonderful because it would put our students into the right levels for us, but we're not going to do that. Every new student will start at high beginning and have to go through every level. Do you have any questions about that? So you'll notice that Debbie Little will teach high beginning fall 1 and fall 2. That's because that's her assignment. But then I will stay back and do fall 1 and fall 2 at high beginning. And Sylvia will start at high beginning, but she will be teaching low intermediate the second 8 weeks. You see how we're kind of building from there?
Right.
Do you have any? And Martha, you'll always teach, no you won't. You'll teach high beginning in the beginning, the first 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second 8 weeks you will too. But then in the spring, you'll go to low intermediate, and I haven't passed those out yet.
Well, I'm not on there. Oh, okay, you're saying you haven't passed out the spring.
Right. Okay, do you have questions about the schedule?
So, Renetta, on mine, high beginning and then mixed levels will mean, is that something
Yeah.
that you and I are going to have to get together with?
It is, because with you being a one-man show, the first 8 weeks you'll have all high beginning, but then the next 8 weeks you'll have high beginning and low intermediate. They'll be mixed into one class instead of, does that make
Okay.
sense?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I still don't understand. Why, are there not two, is there not fall 1 and fall 2?
There is.
Well, then, I'm only teaching the first 8 weeks.
No, they're teaching both. Oh, that should say fall 1 and fall 2. All right, anybody else see anything that you have questions about?
Are our books available yet?
So Pearson's they gave me a quote, and I turned the quote in, and then the powers that be said, oh, they need a tax exempt form, and they need to know that we're a booking number, whatever, which I didn't have when they told me to order the books. So for a week and a half, I've been calling Pearson's Books every other day. And it still is in upper leadership because of the tax exempt form. So no, they haven't been ordered yet, but we'll talk about books in just a moment. Okay, and so then this is the spring schedule. Ryan, I forgot about you. I mean, I don't know if it'll help you see how it's, you have to go to classrooms or something.
Do you have an extra one for them there?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you, Marnetta. I'm not gonna worry about spring right now.
Yeah, one
Way
step at a
too.
time. But I thought for the overachievers,
Let me know what I'm gonna do these 8 weeks.
Let's go with day one.
Let's go with intake and orientation.
Yeah.
okay, and we all need to give Debbie Oliver a round of applause.
No, they may
She
not.
created this
well.
wonderful chart for
No,
us.
they may not like it.
We are structuring ESL like HSE.
Do you need to keep this one because it says mine?
Well, no, they all are.
They all say mine.
Oh, okay.
Mine.
Oh, here's another one.
Oh,
for
wow.
her.
Was that Finding Nemo?
You sure are needy.
Like HSC.
So we're doing it like GED. So the purpose of us creating something similar,
Is this yours?
no. Just forget that it says mine at the top. The purpose of us structuring it like GED is so when students leave ESL, they're used to reading this kind of chart. Eventually, we're going to add another column and put manipulatives. So for our lower levels, you know how we have sentence scrambles? We've made well, let's give Angie a round of applause. She has made manipulatives, and I'm going to get them laminated so that each class will have that to work in groups and help with the sentence structure. That is something that I've heard from GED that our students are having a hard time with, how to form a question, how to form a sentence, where do you put that? Dangling modifiers are causing problems. So maybe with some more manipulatives, they'll see that, work with it, and maybe it'll help them. So, do you have questions about this?
And as you go through, if you notice errors or something, or have, you think something would work better, please share it, because this is
You want
just
me to help you, Renetta?
a starting
Do
point.
something else.
I'm sorry I can't send these books home with you. Do you need some more?
So, is this from the text you're gonna?
We can't take one to
Yeah.
study
You've had one
or to
to
look at?
Yes,
If you bring it
No.
back.
Use a future.
If you bring it back.
yes.
We'll get classroom
And
sets
so,
later.
like right here,
Uh-huh.
this is a-
So like if I bring it back when?
It's on page 89.
At some point.
And that's just from straight
Before school
I
starts.
have
up here
mine.
where it says make small.
I'm glad I have mine.
Do those pages.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, the part, yeah, okay, let me talk.
Okay.
She was asking the question.
Okay, that is fine. So what we had to do, because we have to have a midterm and a final, the way that we had ESL before, that didn't work. Because we'd have students come in August, October we had intake, and new students would feed into the existing classes. So how are we supposed to do a midterm and a final? So the compromise we came up with is there are 12 units in this book. They did away with advanced. They're calling it pre-HSC, but if you're rural site, there's give and take. You know what I mean? So the first 4 units will be high beginning. The next 4 units will be low intermediate. And the last 4 will be high intermediate.
Okay. First 4.
The first 4 units are high beginning.
And then chapters 5 through 8 are
Low intermediate.
Uh-huh. And then 9 through 12 are high intermediate.
Mhm. Look at our mathematician in here. Go, Dolores.
No.
So 5 through 9 are low intermediate?
5 through 8, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8.
5
6 and 8.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
And if you're a rural site and there's just two of y'all, talk to each other, okay? And see, you know, if you want to change in how your assignment is done, okay? All right, so
So we're only going like till noon?
you'll have one class from 9 to 10, 9 to
15.
10:15. You have a 15-minute break, and then there's another hour and a half. So since we're talking about that schedule, let me just say that depending on numbers, so we have a class cap of 25. So if, say, you have 35 students, that class could be, it depends on Michelle, Michelle's the director, but you could split that class and teach back to back. If you have 25, 20, the second hour will be for reading and listening emphasis. Okay? So that's not to say that at 10:30 you didn't finish an assignment that you just have to stop. I mean, you have leeway, but we need to focus on reading and listening the second hour.
Are they the same students, or are they different?
There'll be, unless it's too many students, if you've exceeded your cap, then it will be new students. But if you have 20 students, the second hour will be the exact same
I'm
students.
sorry, I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay,
Mhm.
so if
So the same
your
student.
first class is at 9 o'clock, and you have 20 students, okay? The second hour, you will have the same students, because you're not over the limit.
Yeah, okay, because you told me before that I'd be teaching two different groups, that's not.
But no, but if you're over the 25, you can only have 25 in your class. If you have 35 students, we divide that in half, and then you teach the same thing back to back. We won't know until we see our student numbers.
Okay, good.
And you
So
said,
it could go either way. You could have a brand new set.
she said second hour is going to be focused on listening and,
And reading,
okay.
Okay, so the first hour is what?
yeah.
First hour
It'll be high beginning,
is, no,
Be different.
didn't you say the second hour was reading and listening, or?
focused on that. Okay? So your first hour, you're going to follow your lesson
Second hour,
plans.
listening and.
So if I have
So
less
you'll
than
look
20,
at
which
this,
that
you're going to
might be in her
do,
first, so I'm going to actually have the same students
you're gonna do the
from 9 to
reading,
11:45
and then there's some
anyway.
habit strategies.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about.
That makes sense.
Okay? So that's what you do the first hour.
I'm actually not basing
The
this in
second hour, we're
class.
going to give you things to do, but I haven't talked about that yet.
Finish up,
So
and then
if
it
you
needs to
have,
focus on
like,
listening.
say, if you're below your cap,
Which we're still working on.
Okay, so this doesn't cover listening and reading.